You are the best thing in my life. Sunny days and starry nights that never end. You make me laugh, you make me cry, you make me come alive. I'll come alive again. I'll come alive. I'll come alive again.
Hey everybody, this is a special episode, at least for me it is, because we're celebrating one of my favorite things ever, and that is kombucha, because January 15th is National Booch Day. So grab your booch, settle in, and prepare for a show, because I'm going to show you how to make your own kombucha, tell you all about the health benefits and the fun facts about this amazing elixir, and I'm also going to take you on a tour of my friend Deanne and Jared Gustafson's Kombucha on Tap in Vista, California. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Celeste's Quest for Her Best Life. Today I'm so excited because we're going to be talking with something I'm pseudo-obsessed with. Actually, it's something that I have been touting for years and years and years. In fact, when I started touting the great benefits of this miracle elixir or tonic that is now really, really popular, nobody had even heard of it. People were like, kombucha, what? What did you say? What was that word? Where is that from? Anyway, so this is one of those topics that I happen to know way more than I should about, and I actually call myself a bona fide kombuchaholic. But I love kombucha. I love how I feel when I'm on kombucha, and the weird thing is, maybe not that weird if you understand what kombucha is, but one of the weird things about it is when I run out of kombucha and stop drinking it for a few weeks, I get cold-like symptoms. My immune system kind of gets shot, and I don't feel that great. So my body is totally used to drinking kombucha. If you have never had it before, 1, don't be scared. 2, try the right brand. And 3, drink it in moderation. You don't just go and drink like 16 ounces right off the bat, or you might be spending some extra time in the restroom, the ladies' room, I might say. It really is an ancient elixir. It's been around for almost 2,000 years, maybe even longer. This kind of stuff isn't the stuff they just wrote down and gave you the ingredients and told everybody about. It was something that was passed down from families and cultures, and it started way back in China, somehow ended up in Russia. It's been in Germany. You hear people, random people, Hawaiian people I know, people that are Vietnamese, people that are Chinese. I've met people that are like, yeah, my grandma used to make this stuff all the time. But that was way before the hipsters got a hold of it and made it super popular so that you and I could enjoy it at our local gas stations. But that's fantastic. And it was great because my friends Deanne and Jared kind of got ahead of the curve back in like maybe 2013. They had gone up to Oregon and had this trip, and they ended up seeing that this beverage, kombucha, was on tap everywhere they went in Oregon. And they're like, this isn't caught on in California yet, but it's going to. And so they kind of made that prediction and decided to just bet on that horse. They bet on the kombucha horse, and they started Kombucha on Tap. So we're gonna go into Kombucha on Tap and find out how they helped usher in the SoCal craze of kombucha. And later I even became a brewer. I decided to start brewing my own kombucha. And in doing so, I ended up teaching classes. And then Deanne actually took us a few times to several of the kombucha cons. She said, I'm going to Kombucha Con one day, and I was like, did you just say Kombucha Con? And she said, oh yeah, but only brewers can go. I'm like, but how are you guys going? You're distributors, not brewers. And she said, well, we got a special pass because we're sponsoring the after party. And I'm like, there's a Kombucha Con after party? And she said, yeah, we're making kombucha cocktails. And I'm like, what? You're blowing my mind right now. At the Kombucha Con, because the Kombucha Con is for brewers only, I ended up going to several of the workshops and seminars and learning from behind the scenes all the stuff that brewers have to go through. And a lot of it has to do with testing for alcohol content. Now, there are people who are clean and sober who drink kombucha. My wife is one of those. But some people in AA and sobriety programs don't believe in drinking anything with even trace amounts of alcohol, even though it's something that can be sold to children. It's not considered true alcohol content. Anything with sugar can be fermented and can turn to alcohol. It's very trace amount. You're not going to get drunk drinking kombucha. You'd have to have some really, really, really potent kombucha. And there's actually hard kombuchas out there now. People were like, hey, why do testing when we can just make it an alcoholic beverage? So there's been hard kombucha companies that have come out as well. Why do people even drink this strange beverage? Well, the health benefits are really, really the reason. I would say the flavor and the taste is wonderful. I started doing kombucha demonstrations and classes at my home for a while, and we would just nickname everyone's booch based on either the taste or something about people. And I had one friend, her name is Tina, and we called hers Black Eye Booch because hers were just like, felt like a punch to the face. It was so vinegary potent. And then my other friend Tyra, who actually provided the Scoby, because I'm going to show you guys how to make your own kombucha. And it's not hard, it's not difficult, but it's kind of like getting a house plant. You got to take care of it. But anyway, so we used to call hers like a gateway booch because her booch is so sweet and so fizzy and so yummy. It tastes like Fanta. Like her strawberry booch, forget it. It just tastes like strawberry soda. And then mine was beach booch because I live at the beach. We would do a little lesson about the health benefits. It's full of probiotics. That's the main thing that they tout, is that there's 1 billion or 2 billion probiotics in the kombucha. And what are probiotics for? They're for your gut, for a healthy gut. We got lots and lots and lots of bacteria. In fact, they say besides this brain, the heart has a brain energy field to it, and so does your gut, because you got billions, maybe even trillions of little creatures living in there and deciding what you're going to crave today. And the thing is, bacteria love sugar, so sometimes the sugar addictions are the hardest to break. But we get into kombucha, and kombucha has the good guys, has a lot of good bacteria. So it's great for digestion, and it's great for your gut and your colon and all these things. It is being fermented, so therefore it is creating all this good gut bacteria. It also makes polyphenols, which are antioxidants, which you need to fight all those free radicals in your cellular level. And because you're fighting free radicals, then they start touting all the health benefits. They're like, it's anti-aging, it's cellular rejuvenation. Yes, in very small ways. Absolutely. Anything when you're doing antioxidants is going to have that effect. But we're talking very small amounts, so you're not going to look like a teenager tomorrow. But one of the things that you do notice immediately when you drink kombucha, besides the probiotic effects, is you notice the B vitamins. Kombucha is also full of vitamin C and amino acids and electrolytes. So you can drink it in the day if you're feeling a little bit like you're crashing. Maybe instead of going to Starbucks, grab a kombucha. You might actually have better, longer benefits. You'll never get jittery. You're never gonna get like off the walls bonkers on kombucha. And it's got organic active enzymes, which can help you break down your food and help you digest better. So there's a lot of amazing benefits. And because of all those little benefits, there's always this huge list of other side of benefits like weight loss and things like that. It's really about being an ancient elixir that is delicious when made correctly. And it actually can be very uplifting, and it makes you feel good. So I am a self-touted kombuchaholic. I keep it on tap. I really don't brew much anymore. Kombucha is exciting. It's a living food. It is living. It's a living creature. It's a living food. I am super excited to bring you kombucha. So I'm standing outside of Kombucha on Tap here in Vista, California. These are my friends. We go way back. They've had a few locations, but this is where they're at now here in Vista. And we're about to go inside. Of course, safety first. I got to put in my mask. And then we're going to go and talk to my good friend Deanne all about what Kombucha on Tap offers the community here.
Welcome. Come on in.
So tell me about this room. This is the room I've spent the most time in.
Yes. This is our tasting room, if you will. It's unofficial. We're not like a tasting room to the public, but people can come in, fill up growlers, we always have different flavors on tap, and anything new we get, we put it on tap for everyone to try out too.
Aside from being with KOT, she's also got a lot of experience being in front of the camera, so that's always helpful.
Yes.
But anyway, behind her, it doesn't look like, it looks like we're looking at a mirror, but actually we can see the
people
staff
there.
behind that. Let's go into the warehouse and see what you got going back here. Now, we might have mentioned before that Deanne does a lot of stuff from home nowadays because she's got the kids.
Yes.
But so Jared is usually the one
Jared's
helping me
here
get my
every day.
kegs.
So in here, this is where a lot of keg are. These will either go out to different businesses or we're doing maintenance on them.
And home. Can people buy these
yeah,
for
people
home
can have
too as
these
well?
for their homes as well.
I know because I bought mine.
We have yours, yeah. So we have quite a collection. Unfortunately, during COVID, a lot of places have had to close. So we have to take their keg back while they're closed, which is such a bummer. But hopefully they'll be back up and running soon.
So what brands are you guys carrying right now? We've got Kombucha.
Or it's actually pronounced Kombucha.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh. I was pronouncing it wrong too.
But, so we got them. Let's see. I'll just give you. So this is that's their logo. In case you're not familiar.
That's
with
my
them.
favorite flavor too.
Oh my God, it's so
I
good.
love that flavor.
So good. We have Kombucha. They're out of San Diego as well.
That's actually my number one favorite flavor I keep on tap.
They're so good too. I love all our flavors. I mean, for me, just Babe is phenomenal.
I've had some Babe before. It's really good.
It's really good, really popular, super popular. And then we have Health Aid Kombucha. They're out of Los
Health Aid's a very
Angeles.
big brand.
Very big brand. We have.
Of course, the biggest brand.
You recognize this one in the stores.
We definitely recognize GT's.
This is our number one brand. Probably our number one flavor even is Trilogy.
Yep, that's
They're
that
super
ginger
good.
raspberry lemon. That one's pretty
So
kind
we
of
have
tart but
Mighty
fun.
Booch. They're a local company as well.
I haven't tried Mighty Booch
So
yet.
good. And then we have coffee. So we have Bonafide. They're out of Santa Barbara.
They're very good. I like them.
Sleeping Giant. They're local. They're really, really good.
I haven't tried them
and
yet.
Then, you gotta try that too. You don't drink that much coffee though, do you?
Not much.
For like a
More-
moment you did, and then.
Renee drinks
Stonetown,
coffee daily.
This is the nation's number one cold brew, and they're phenomenal too.
Yeah.
I think that's a look at most of our brands. Tap handle for the Nitro Passion tea.
Who makes that?
That's by Bonafide.
Okay, so it's
That's
a
a very
tea
pretty tea.
made by the coffee company.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Nice.
We all have that pre-COVID versus now. But before COVID, about how many kegs were you guys sending out for delivery a week?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember. On a big month, it was our numbers were way more than 2,000 a month of kegs. So I don't know what the math is, but we were doing decent, fair amount, and then now it's sad face, but we're hanging in there.
It's okay, you have a mask. We can't see your smile. We can't see your pout.
I'm still smiling.
But if you're doing really, really well and you want to make some new health resolutions for the new
Yes.
year, you could get a keg
Oh my gosh,
of
yes.
kombucha on your tap at home if you're here in the North County area. You can come and
be
pick them
all
up.
of Southern California. We
So you guys
all the way
deliver
to
everywhere.
LA. Yeah.
So you can get
LA,
delivery
to San Diego, Temecula, you name it. But North County for sure, that's the best. But having it at home on tap is life changing.
It kind of made me lazy. Yeah, me
I was
too.
our first client.
Yeah, I know you were.
It's if we're doing this business, we need it on tap at our house.
It kind of made me lazy though, because I used to brew my own
You did.
kombucha until I was able to get it just as simple from you.
Okay, well let's go on in. And so this is our cold storage. And this is where the kegs come in, they get stored, and then they go out. We get everything out to clients as fast as possible, so you're getting the freshest stuff. Sierra Nevada is now renting some space from us. So
Oh, really?
We don't do beer.
I was gonna say this doesn't look like it's in the right place here.
Yeah. Some different brands rent space from us. We have a Hobbs company that rents from us too.
How funny.
Yeah, super fun.
So you guys do cans as well?
We do, yeah. We got any cans and bottles with
Oh, these are the zero
The zeros.
sugar.
Yeah, those are
For
so
those of
good.
you that are doing keto, that's gonna be a thing. You can get zero carbohydrate, zero sugar kombucha. That's pretty cool.
This is our bitchin' sauce, and now it comes in packs of 6.
We didn't even mention that you do carry
Yeah, we also have
bitchin' sauce.
I mentioned it.
You guys started that relationship pretty early on too.
Oh yeah, this is what bitchin' sauce is. If you've never heard of it, it's an almond-based dip that's the most incredible thing you'll ever have. It's all gluten-free, non-GMO, vegan. so good.
And it started right in this area in
Started in
Carlsbad. Yeah.
Still is a local Carlsbad.
So at first I used to see bitchin' sauce at the farmers markets, and then suddenly they were in every store.
They're everywhere. And then just be careful as you walk across. But
So this is the Mighty Booch. This is
the Mighty Booch,
raspberry lemonade.
Yeah, so
that
they have
sounds
the
good.
cutest little like logos
I
with
know,
flamingos.
that's what I noticed.
and
How
cactuses.
cute. Look, this one has cactus on it. California citrus.
I'll give you a tasting. I have a taster.
We definitely love tastings.
Yeah, here's
that
their
sounds good.
little Mighty Booch one for you to
Thank
try.
you. I'll
Yeah,
take that.
Pair.
Yeah.
Whichever.
All right.
So we can head
And
out
then
of
these
here.
are all the
These are
bottles.
Yeah, bottles, and then like this is a great kegs going out for delivery here soon, so it's already started.
Nice. They even have these little teeny tiny bottles. How cute are those?
I have little minis.
Little minis. You ever drinking your kombucha and you're like, I can't finish this whole bottle. Never. To the office is Jared, and he is
Jared, just be ready.
running the day-to-day operations here at Kombucha on Tap, and keeps everybody in a positive, happy mood, and keeps everybody on track, and helps with the growth and development of Kombucha on Tap. He's
Yes. Nice to meet all of
the
you.
soul of Kombucha on Tap right here.
Yes,
Thanks for everything you do, Jared.
Thank you as well for being here.
So Deanne's gonna pour me some different samples of kombucha that she has on tap today, and we're just gonna have our own little kombucha party, but we'll see you in a little bit because I'm gonna show you guys how to make your own kombucha at home. Kombucha on Tap and I used to have a demonstration that we worked together on, and we would have presentations where I would teach people the history, the health benefits, and the process of making your own kombucha, and then we would do a kombucha tasting party, or we would start out with one too, and boy, we would just chat it up.
Those were so fun. She's kind of downplaying it. She held a workshop and taught everyone how to make kombucha, and it was very hands-on. It was awesome.
I just remember everybody drinking a lot of kombucha
Drank
and then
a
being
lot of
very
kombucha.
shy at first,
Yes.
and then everybody just being so effervescent with all those vitamin B's
Yes.
floating around.
It got really chatty. It was like quiet, and then it was like the more the time went on, everyone was.
And then we're all besties by the end of it. So
Yeah.
there's kombucha bringing people together.
Yes, which is very uniting.
All right, well, we're gonna have some kombucha, and we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so welcome back to my kitchen. It's been a while since we've been here, hasn't it? So we're back in my little cozy kitchen, and I want to let you guys know, first of all, we are breeding bacteria. Literally, that is what kombucha is. So you want to be careful that you're not breeding the wrong or bad bacteria. So it's really important that you wipe everything down, especially now that we're in this COVID time. We need to be hyper vigilant on cleanliness. I use these Clorox disinfectant wipes, and I wipe down everything. And then I also make sure to clean with soap and water, just soap and water, nothing else, the jars and all of the containers that have the kombucha. And also make sure to wash your hands really, really good with soap and water. So we want everything to be really sterile and clean. We want the best kombucha. This is for our health. So the last thing we want to do is do anything to damage our health, right? So what you need, here's what you need. You need a 2-gallon jar. It doesn't really need the spigot. It's totally useless because the little pelliculas, the Scoby starts growing on the inside of this. It's totally useless. There's no point in that. Plus, you're not going to usually be drinking your kombucha straight from here. We have another step of that process. Unfortunately, I do not have, I ordered the bottles, but they haven't arrived yet, and I don't have one to show you, but you'll get the idea. What you need is you need organic green tea. Organic pure green tea, not organic mandarin or green tea or lemon green tea. Pure green tea. This one has 3 different green teas in it. If you don't like the flavor of green tea, you can try black tea. You can use hibiscus tea. You can also use raspberry leaf tea. And the reason that you're going to use any of these teas is because these teas all have tannins. It's not about the caffeination. It's not about the color. It's about the tannins that are contained in the tea. So I like green tea base. I feel like green tea has a very neutral flavor and taste, especially when you start adding in your flavors after the fact. The next thing you're gonna need, this is a Scoby. Now this is a little more difficult to get. You can't just go to a grocery store and pick one of these babies up. You might be able to find them online. I'm sure you can find them online actually. Sometimes they are dried. I've never used a dried Scoby to make kombucha. In my case, I asked a friend, and if you know any Kombuchaholics in your life, you probably have a friend that has a Scoby for you. And the thing is, every time you make kombucha, you get another Scoby. So sometimes anybody who's a brewer of kombucha has way too many and they're swimming in them and they can't get rid of them fast enough. In fact, on the kombucha groups that I used to belong to, people were doing things like putting Scobies in the dehydrator and making treats for their chickens and their dogs. They need probiotics too. The other thing you need is alkaline water or pure water or distilled water, but it needs to be a clean, not tap water. I use the Carlsbad alkaline water, and you're gonna need sugar. Now, I know that people have experimented with different kinds of sugars. You can't use monk fruit. I'm sorry, keto friends. You can't use monk fruit, you can't use stevia. I don't recommend coconut sugar, although some people have tried using coconut sugar. It's just not, what you need is a real true sugar. Bacteria loves this stuff. They love sugar. Good and bad. The good and the bad bacteria love the sugar. But the sugar is essential. This is the food for the bacteria. This is what's gonna make them grow. Paper towels or cheesecloth or a nice cloth that is breathable but is also durable and won't let other outside bacteria and things in there. So I like this one by Viva. It feels like cloth. Sometimes I double it up and then I simply use a rubber band to secure it. You don't want to put the lid that came, in this case, this one has a little liner from when I bought it. You don't want to use the lid that you got when you purchased the jar because it can't breathe. Remember, we're dealing with a living creature. It's in here. And I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. The living creatures that are in here, it's not the Scoby. It's not the Caligula. It's not that gross looking monster thing. It's actually the tea. It's the liquid that's in here. All the bacteria is in the liquid. So what you do is, first of all, you take 10 bags of green tea and you add it to 2 quarts of hot, pure water. And you put in 1 cup of sugar, okay? I've already gone ahead and done that. And you want it to be hot water so that the sugar will dissolve. So now you have a sugar water green tea base, and you're going to then pour that base into your jug here. You don't need the tea bags. We've already steeped this overnight. The sugar is completely dissolved. Basically, you have 2 gallons of water here, 2 gallons of tea. I didn't make that much, but you can make a concentrate with just the sugar and the tea, and then you can add in more water here. But I just want you to be aware that your water can't be too hot or too cold, because this baby is alive. And because this baby is alive, this tea is alive, if it's too hot, you'll kill it. If it's too cold, it will go dormant. And it won't be, it's not that it kills them necessarily, they just aren't active. So if you want it to be active, you want to bring your Scoby to room temperature. If you're trying to store a Scoby, you can store it in the refrigerator. I stored one for 2 years. Not this one. This one comes from my friend Tyra. This Scoby is over 25 years old. So anyway, it's not that pretty. I hesitate to show you. Let's just say it looks slimy. Ooh. They call that the mother, and really it's the tea that's alive, and it will float on the top of your kombucha here. So then you want to cover the kombucha with a nice cloth. A bandana works as well. Make sure it's clean, and then secure that. Really, that's it. So Then you're going to put this in a dark space. It loves the dark. And because it's living, I recommend that you talk to it and say good morning to your kombucha. And then you say good night, tell it good night, tell it good morning, and just feed it a little love. But in seriousness, and I am serious about that too, but you will put this away, and it's about 2 weeks that you're going to keep it in the cabinet. Because this was a dormant Scoby, it might take a few extra days just to wake up and revitalize and go, oh, we need to start multiplying this bacteria. We've got food. Again, I dissolved that sugar, 1 cup of sugar, in the tea. So we had 10 tea bags. We had 1 cup of sugar, and then we just added more water to this. Now I didn't do a full amount. You can see this is clearly not full. We're only at about half of this. So we have about a gallon, maybe a little bit more than a gallon in here. But we're gonna wait 2 weeks. Now, after that 2 weeks is up, this is something that may gross you out, but I highly recommend it. Get a little cup, pour a little out, try it. It should be effervescent. It should only be slightly sweet, and it should not be too vinegary. I know trying it straight out of the jar, it's a little bit skeevy. You kind of go, ooh, that's weird. But anyway, try the kombucha, and if it tastes really, really good, then it's ready. That's all I can say. No, but I mean, if it's just not too sweet and it's not too vinegary, if it's too vinegary, you might have gone too far. You might want to start with a new booch. Once it gets to vinegar, there's really no going back. If it's too sweet, wait a few more days until it's the sweetness that you like. That's why I said there's nuances in everybody's booch, because somebody gets to the vinegar point and is like, this is the best kombucha ever. That's my friend with the black eye booch. And then someone else goes, I really like the sweet booch. Maybe that's gateway booch. And it'll be a sweeter concoction, but it should be effervescent. It'll be naturally effervescent. We don't add carbon dioxide to kombucha. All of that bacteria creates that effervescence, that natural CO2 in there. So it's gonna be very fizzy. It's gonna have a nice fizziness to it. So you wanna wait a few weeks, check on your kombucha, make sure it doesn't turn. Once it is ready, once this is ready, you can drink it just like this. You are more than welcome. You've ever seen kombucha marked as original? Well, that's just plain old kombucha tea with a little sugar. Now, what people really tend to like doing and what makes yours personal and different is how you flavor it. So you ever see those bottles that have the cap that secures on? Everything has to be glass, by the way. I have seen people put kombucha in ceramics, but I prefer glass because I like to see what's going on. You want to be careful and be very aware and hyper vigilant that no mold starts growing on here. What does mold look like? Well, it can look like little fuzzy spots on the top of the water. It can look like that stuff that's floating around out in there starts turning, having little spots on it. You have to be careful, be vigilant, because if any molds or spores get in here, they will multiply. So there's things to be aware of. It's not the most simple thing, but it's definitely not the most difficult thing either. Once it's ready, you put it into these glass bottles that have the secure locking tops, because kombucha is effervescent and can be a little volatile. There are many, 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 many stories, if you go to any kombucha group online and in existence, of people walking into their kitchen and seeing what looks like a chaotic explosion. That can happen. You gotta be careful. Now let's just say worst case scenario, you can't get the bottles that have the caps that secure, they're clamp bottles. You can also use these. I've known several people who have just filled up a bunch of these GT's jars because they're glass and they have a plastic lid. What you don't want, this is the most important thing, don't let kombucha touch metal. You don't want a metal lid. You don't want metal near it. No metal. No metal tops, okay? So we got the plastic top, we've got the glass, that'll work. You can use these. So anyway, what you're gonna do is you're gonna probably put the kombucha up to where the label is. And then the fun part begins. You can put chunks or purees of your favorite fruits or herbs into your kombucha. Some of my best recipes have had pineapple and ginger. Pineapple and ginger do really well with kombucha. The only caveat with pineapple is it gets very volatile because of the sugars in pineapple. So I've had 1 or 2 explosions from pineapple kombucha. Mango is also excellent in kombucha. Berries are great in kombucha. Another recipe that I loved making was one you're not going to find in stores. It's my own concoction, but I would use pears and blackberries and a little sweet mint from my garden. And it was just one of my favorite combinations of kombucha. But it's up to you. You can get creative in your kitchen with your flavors that you love. I've seen people use kiwi, mango, pineapple, ginger, apple, basil. People use herbs all the time, rosemary. You can use lavender. After a few days of being locked up, like this is open, right? This is open air. All the effervescence is coming and going, and in here it's locked in. So you can burp it, and then after a few days, it should be really extra fizzy, like really fizzy, like a soda, I don't know if you've ever had kombucha over the counter or from the gas station. It's pretty fizzy. This won't ever get that fizzy because it's not contained in a pressurized little jar with a lid. So anyway, after a few days, you'll have your kombucha. You can either pour out and strain out the fruit that you put into the jars and then drink it that way. Or some people just say that because the jars, a lot of the ones that have the clamp bottles, they have a very narrow neck and it's really tough to get the fruit in there and then back out. I used to struggle for hours just like cutting up little tiny bits of mango and ginger. And then somebody said, why don't you just puree it? I don't know why I didn't think of that, because I was straining out the sugar. I don't know. Anyway, so you can add a puree to it, or you can do it whatever way you want to. But anyway, and if you have the wider mouth like this, you might be able to just get the chunks out. I used to always just pour it into a strainer into my cup. So, and then you have your kombucha, and then you put it in the refrigerator, and then you can store it forever because, like I said, it kind of goes dormant in the refrigerator. It ceases to continue growing. So what happens is when you have chilled kombucha that you're buying from the store, it is dormant in the fact that it is not continuously growing. Like it's super active, it's growing right here. When you put it with the fruit, there's even more sugars to feed on. It is continually growing. Once you put it in the refrigerator, it stops growing, it stops aging, and it's just got all those vitamins locked in there for you. So that is how you make kombucha. It's very simple, but you gotta keep an eye on it. What will happen, now this is kind of interesting. What will happen is, like say this is my first brew with this dormant Scoby, and she's got to wake up. We call her the mother. Mama's got to wake up. Mama's got to start working. And what she is she's kind of like, it's hard to say, but she's like cellular residue of the bacteria. Got it? Like that's what that is. They call it a mushroom. Some people call it a mushroom. It's not a mushroom. It's not a spore. It's nothing like that. It's not even really with Scoby, which is a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. It's not that either. It's a follicula. It's like stuff. It's like stuff, like dandruff from the bacteria that collects, but it creates a home. And every time that you make kombucha, what's really important, you saw the liquid that was in here, is not to pour out all the liquid. So when you decide to make another batch of this and you pour this out into your jars, make sure you keep a cup, at least a cup, maybe 2 cups of the tea that it's living in, the environment that it's living in the jar. Do not pour it all out. If you pour it all out and all you're left with is the Scoby, you've lost your kombucha. You don't have any kombucha left. That's not kombucha, that's just the Scoby, that's just the follicula. So you wanna make sure you have at least a cup to 2 cups, I would say at least this much, at least a jar full of the tea left in the jar. And if you decide, I don't wanna make another batch yet, I'm not ready to do that, you can pour in like a 1/4 cup of sugar and just let the bacteria that's in there feed it. It's alive. You got to keep feeding it. Like I said, it's like having a pet or a plant. You got to feed that kombucha give it a little sugar. And when you're ready again, you simply just add more of the green tea or the tannin tea with sugar melted in it and fill it back up. Again, don't let it get too hot. Don't let it get too cold. If you live in a really cold area and it gets cold at night, there are actually people that sell little warming blankets just for kombucha. I keep mine in a cabinet. You want to keep it dark. You don't want a lot of sunlight on the kombucha because it's in a jar. It'll get too hot. So do not keep it in the sun. Keep it in a dark place that is not too hot and not too cold. A little picky. Yeah, this is a high maintenance little heifer right here. But anyway, it's worthwhile. It's definitely worth it. And it's really kind of fun because you connect with it because you're part of creating something. You're taking part in that. So make some kombucha. I would love if you tell me in your comments about this video whether or not you're gonna try or whether or not you've made it before, or maybe you have some difficulties and you have questions about it. If you have any questions on how to brew kombucha, I am happy to help any way that I can. And thank you so much for joining me on this fun episode. I don't know how much fun you have, but I always have fun when I talk about kombucha. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. And just so you know, the reason that I'm doing this episode on kombucha today is because January 15th, this week, January 15th, is National Kombucha Day. Can you believe it? So anyway, we are celebrating kombucha, and not only us, but it's being celebrated in different ways all over the place. So enjoy National Kombucha Day with a little glass of kombucha. Store-bought's fine. I will never judge you for buying kombucha at the store or buying it on tap. Go down to Kombucha on Tap. Go get some kombucha from somewhere, somehow, but make sure you get your probiotics. Thanks for joining me today on Celeste Quest.